Canisha Clemmet-Kennedy. I'm a proud Truraway woman from northeast Tasmania.
My name is Thomas Watson and I am a Gungaloo man from central/southeast Queensland.
Hello, my name's Mark Mann. My mob is Gundi Jamara.
My name's Takysha Brennan. I am a proud Palawa woman from down in Tassie.
My name's Lewis Brown. My connections are on my mother's side, I'm a Yorta Yorta Jajo Rodong man, and on my father's side, I'm a Gundi Jamara man.
I am a fifth year osteopath student in my final year, about to graduate.
Participating in activities at RMIT Sport since 2016, back when I did exercise and sports science.
I started off with a Bachelor of Health Science in osteopathy, and also I've done Diploma of Community Service with RMIT.
And I'm an alumni at RMIT. I studied a Bachelor of Pharmaceutical Science and I still work at the RMIT Sport Centre.
And I'm the coordinator of Indigenous Outreach at the Ngarara Willim Centre.
Nationals is probably the highlight of my uni career. Every year it's the thing you look forward to the most.
I've been at RMIT for 7 years, so across that 7 years I've had quite involvement. So I've been to Indigenous Nationals quite a few times, which has been an amazing experience. It's definitely a way to connect with other Indigenous students.
I was 45 years old, so I was on the older side, I reckon, around when I went up there. It was very inclusive and you just learn a lot about culture and other mobs and other unis and other disciplines, and it was just a great feeling to be together and learn from each other.
Nationals was so much fun, and it was really interesting to learn some new sports like volleyball and touch footy that I'd never done before, which was a bit of a challenge, but it was so much fun.
Previously known as Uni Games, Indigenous Nationals is where different universities from across the country meet in one city and sort of compete against each other in different sports, being volleyball, touch football, netball and basketball. It's more of a coming together to connect through sport, and that's very important for our mob, to connect and meet each other and learn about different countries that we exist on.
My advice for Indigenous Uni Games is don't be afraid to get into the sport, and it's not about being the best and an elite athlete. It's about getting to participate in a sport at all levels, and it's all about having fun.
To anybody just wanting to get into it, you just do it. Come along. We're all friendly at the Indigenous Centre. It's a lot of fun. You won't regret it.
I would absolutely strongly recommend that anyone, regardless of age, disability, gender, anything whatsoever, get to the uni games. They're great. You'll have a good time there.
And for the next generation, I'd say do it. It's just the best experience. You make new friends, you learn new skills, and it's just the best fun.
Students can sign up, reach out to Ngarara Willim, and we have a student leader in place who will be happy to recruit any student that would be interested in going to Indigenous Nationals and connecting not only with students from your own university, but students from other universities in Victoria or across the country. The necessary steps to be taken to host such an Indigenous round is to speak to our people and learn from us, and be open-minded to collaboration, to not only host something that will educate people, but be respectful in the process as well. We're the oldest living culture on the planet, and I think it's such a beautiful thing to embrace that through sport.
I had a few idols growing up. One of them, my mum. She played Australian basketball when she was younger. And there's, of course, Kathy Freeman, Nova Peris, Adam Goods, Jonathan Thurston, all the Indigenous greats in sport.
So one of my role models was probably the cliche Kathy Freeman. I remember as a kid going to Science Works and trying to race her at that, that thing.
Dad always used to take me down to St Kilda games, so of course seeing Phil Narkle run out there, seeing Robert Muir run around, they were great to see. Mum loved her tennis, so she loved Yvonne Goolagong.
I grew up watching Leon Davis play for Collingwood, and he was an absolute superstar, magic from the boundary. And I remember there'd always be close games and I'd be sitting in the crowd and I'd be like, kick it to Leon, because he'd kick the goal and he'd come through. So that was always my favourite growing up.
I think it's really important to recognise them as they're the people that our young Indigenous children are going to look up to. Unfortunately, there is a lot of stereotypes with Aboriginal and other people of colour in sports saying, oh, they're just born with it and they don't appreciate the hard work, but it's important for us Aboriginal people to push that they did all that hard work to get there, and tell that and educate our young children so like they believe that they can do it as well.
All I ever did was, as a kid, just play sports and just be involved and be in clubs, because they're like family. They build you up, they see when you're down, they help you out. It really does a lot for your spirit.
Honouring people like Leon Davis and Adam Goods and Elon Goolagong, they fought so hard not just to be sports stars, but all the other things that went on around them, and then they finished their careers, and even during their careers they went on to give so much back to the community. And I think that's probably what inspires me most about people like that. They have their careers, but above everything else they are Indigenous, and giving back is central to what they do. And I think it's people like that that literally change the world.
What the Close the Gap Day sort of means to me is it's really tough as an Aboriginal person, because our people are more prone to disease and things like that, and essentially as an Aboriginal person we've been to a lot more funerals than we have weddings. And I've went to school with many people who have passed on, my cousins, my uncles, who have passed a lot earlier than they should have. I reflect on that, and what the day actually means to me is a commitment to closing the lifespan gap between our people and non-Indigenous peoples, and which is far bigger than it should be. Sport is a really, really good platform to raise these issues, especially with that type of audience. And I'm grateful to be able to get on the field with my brothers and my sisters. If we're running around and keeping healthy, then that contributes to closing the gap as well. So it's really important that we're running these events.
Some tips for keeping Indigenous pride on our side would be, learning about culture as much as you can, and especially where you're playing, and pay respect to the history and the people of that land. Obviously, to stamp out racism, there's no place for it in sport. And enjoy being around mob, giving back to community, getting involved as much as you can.
Learn about the past, your people and what's happened in the past and things like that from your elders, and work on language if you have the opportunity to learn your language.
Definitely getting more involved. So you can do things like supporting black businesses, going to local Aboriginal community centres like VARS, the Victorian Aboriginal Health Service, getting more involved with Indigenous Sports Club like Fitzroy Stars as well. They're a very family and culture centred club, and I've had the privilege of being a part of them, so that's definitely one way.
Learning about your culture, learning about your people, going back to country as much as practical. Also, conversations with people you may have around. They're the things that get you involved and make you proud that you're involved.
Listen to your elders, listen to their stories, learn from them, and continue that to pass on to next generations. Practice art, practice dance, practice singing. Those type of things is something that you feel spiritually whole when you're practicing those as well. It's a very special connection when you share a 60,000-year-old culture.
Moving to Melbourne, Ngarara Willim was very quickly became my family and a lifeline, but then they also were really great at providing us a space where we could get together, have tutoring and any other support services that we needed, which was really nice. And they were only ever a phone call away, which was, I think, the best feeling, knowing that I could just call someone and they could be here quickly, but having family in another state, so it was really nice.
And everyone's really welcoming, and you just meet so many people.
It's just deadly to be around the whole mob.
Yeah, just come along. You'll be a part of the family straight away.
The best way to reach out to Ngarara Willim is just to simply Google us. It'll be on the screen here. Ngarara Willim News. Just Google us, sign up to our newsletter, and we're sending out vital information about our students, about opportunities, and just it's always good to read about what kind of deadly things are happening at RMIT as well.